Ranking. In this world, it's everything. It determines where you stand in the eyes of others, how the world greets you, whether with a bow or with indifference. It stirs desire like a flame to dry leaves, pushing people to climb, to scheme, to dream. Some rise through strength, their fists. Others through intellect. Some trade in connections, others in wealth, and many wield the silent authority of their occupation. Whatever the path, the goal remains the same: to rise, to be seen. And from the quiet edges of the map, in a place most forget even exists, one boy's journey begins. Our hero's tale begins in the quiet village of Tully, tucked between humble hills and untamed forests. Amid the stillness, our protagonist stands, axe in hand, splitting wood. His name is Lowe, 16 years old. A villager asked Lowe to sharpen his blade now that the wood was chopped. Before Lowe could answer, a red-haired girl suddenly kicked the man in the face. "Stop asking Lowe to do your chores," she snapped. Her name was Una, Lowe's age, but nothing like him. The man protested, saying Lowe looked idle. Una retorted that Lowe always looked spaced out. He'd been that way since birth. Then, turning to Lowe, she scolded him for doing every little task villagers threw at him. "They treat you like a tool," she said. Lowe simply replied, "I don't mind." Una sighed, dropped the topic, and invited him to sneak outside the village through a secret passage she found. But before they could move, a voice echoed, "You can't." It was the village chief, Una's grandmother. She reminded them of the village's rule: no one goes outside. As punishment, Una was locked in a cage again, something that clearly happened often. The villagers just watched, used to the scene. Another villager approached Lowe to ask him to fetch water. Lowe agreed instantly, surprising the man. He pointed out how different Lowe and Una were despite being the same age. He gently urged Lowe to rest more and focus on himself. But Lowe refused. After losing his parents, the villagers took him in like family. "They've always cared for me. Helping them is how I give back," he said, smiling. The villager, moved to tears, offered Lowe a place in his home, but Lowe declined since he has his parents' house. While Lowe valued the people in the village, Una longed for the world outside. From her cage, Una begged to be released. "Why can't we go outside?" she asked. Her grandmother replied, "Because we are resented by someone." When Una asked who, the elder said only, "You'll understand when the time comes." Later, as Lowe fetched water, a stone hit his head, Una's signal. She had escaped again. She urged him to follow her to a hidden hole in the village wall. Lowe hesitated, but Una insisted, "Just for a little while. There's something I want to show you." Outside the village, they wandered through the forest until they reached a cliff. The view was breathtaking. "This is the outside world," Una said. Lowe stood in awe. She pulled out a book from a merchant, explaining the world's ranking system: adventurers, doctors, transporters, even food and weapons. "People compete to get their names on the rankings," she said. "I want to be a respected adventurer someday." Lowe just looked at her, concern in his eyes. Lowe reminded Una of the village rule: no one was allowed to leave. But she didn't care. She had already made up her mind. "Let's go together," she said, inviting him to join her. She told him he needed to see the world, and reminded him of the time he saved her from a giant bird when they were 5. His body had glowed with green energy, but he didn't remember it. "You're stronger than anyone when you're serious," she said. "Out there you'll shine." Lowe refused. He loved the village too much to leave. Frustrated by his stubbornness, Una turned away and stormed back. Lowe stayed behind, thinking about her words, until the sky darkened. Suddenly, a massive island appeared above the village, wreathed in crackling blue energy. A deafening roar followed as energy rained down upon the village. The ground trembled. The light blinded. And then silence. The island vanished. Lowe sprinted to the village. But it was gone. No homes. No people. Just silence. He called out, tears streaming down his face. Grief and confusion overtook him as he fell to the ground. A deep voice spoke, low and filled with sorrow. "I'm sorry. I came too late." A tall man with a firm stance approached. "Are you a survivor of Tully Village?" he asked, and Lowe nodded. The man assured him the island was gone and he was safe. But Lowe didn't care about safety. He demanded to know what had happened. The man, conflicted, handed him a card. "Go to this place. You will be safe there. The village is gone. This is beyond you." Lowe grabbed his shirt, pleading for answers. The man insisted there was nothing he could do and urged him to forget. As he turned to leave, a sudden surge of green energy erupted around Lowe, warping the air with power. How could I forget? Lowe said, eyes blazing. I'm going to that island, and I'll bring everyone back. Back when he was young, Lowe lost everything. His parents died in a landslide, leaving him completely alone. It was the kind-hearted villagers who took him in, cared for him, and gave him a place to belong. Among them, he remembered most how Yuna was always by his side. The village was a community that looked after those in need, a family forged from kindness. Lowe thought to himself, how could I ever forget? Then aloud, his determination burned through. I'm going to that island. With this vow, Lowe set his resolve to reach the mysterious island and bring everyone back, no matter what it takes. The swordsman stood frozen in shock. The sheer amount of prana pouring from Lowe was enough to distort the surrounding space. Now, prana refers to the mental energy of living beings. It's a power anyone can possess, but few are aware of. However, talented individuals can use it intentionally. Though usually colorless and transparent, the strong can make it visible. Some races are even said to possess special prana. Back in the main scene, the swordsman narrowed his eyes at Lowe. So this is the survivor of Babel. Seeing the boy's potential, he lowered his original intent to simply protect him. Instead, he unsheathed his sword and threw it at Lowe's feet. Pick it up. If I see potential, I'll train you. But first, his gaze sharpened, deadly serious. Come at me with the intent to kill. Without hesitation, Lowe grabbed the blade and leapt forward. The battle exploded in a storm of green and red energy, their weapons colliding with blinding force. The swordsman sneered mid-fight. As expected, he's still a beginner, his technique is crude. But his smirk quickly faltered. That pressure, the swordman exclaimed. The prana radiating from Lowe was overwhelming, shaking the ground, warping the air. The waves of prana grew extraordinary. The swordsman's eyes widened in disbelief as cracks split along the length of his own blade, fractured by Lowe's sheer energy and brute strength. He's the real deal, the swordsman muttered, finally acknowledging the boy's power. Lowe roared as his prana burst outward, unleashing a twisting ray of green light that tore through the battlefield like a cannon, reaching far into the distance. Lowe sat cross-legged on the cold ground, his eyes fixed on the swordsman. The man's voice carried a weight that made the air itself feel heavy. There is a place, the swordsman began, a floating land that drifts through the sky. They call it the Island of the Gods. When it appears, it swallows land and people alike in a strange, blinding light. The swordsman's gaze darkened. I tried to prevent what happened to your home. I arrived too late. He paused, then added, some believe those taken by the light are transported to the island itself. But that is only a theory. Hope flickered in Lowe's chest, fragile but insistent. So then, he said, voice trembling, if I stand in that light, I could. No, the swordsman cut him off sharply. Do not cling to possibilities. The truth is uncertain. Still, Lowe couldn't help himself. Then tell me, how do I reach the island? The man regarded him for a long moment, then spoke. To even try, you must place within the top 10 of the adventurer rankings. Thousands compete. The top rankers, he shook his head. They are monsters in human form. Lowe clenched his fists until his nails dug into his palms. The island, the swordsman continued, has always been marked danger zone number 1. Few who set foot there return alive. His eyes narrowed. Knowing this, do you still wish to go? Yes. Lowe's reply came without hesitation. The man studied him in silence before finally rising to his feet. He extended his hand. Very well. I will train you for 1 year. After that, the adventurer rankings are yours to conquer. My name is Adol, the man said. Strongest knight of humanity. Rank number 1. Lowe stared at the outstretched hand. Lowe, he answered simply, then grasped it firmly. The two clasped hands, sealing their pact. Adol's mouth curved into the faintest smile. You're the first to ever cut me down with a single strike. For that, your training will be merciless. And so it began. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into months. Adol's training was nothing short of hell. Lowe's palms split open, blisters bursting and reforming into hardened calluses. Heat scorched him in summer, winter winds cut to his bones. He was dragged beneath the waves to fight sea beasts, hurled from cliffs into ravines, and thrown against monsters that lurked deep underground. His body broke again and again, muscles torn, bones shattered, blood soaking the earth. But Lowe refused to stay down. Each time he rose, his resolve burned hotter. For Yuna. For the village. At last, a year passed. Lowe stood upon the same cliff where he had last seen Yuna, gazing out with Adol at his side. Their time together had come to an end. "Are you ready for what lies ahead?" Adol asked. Lowe's gaze drifted to the horizon. "I've been ready for a long time," he replied, his thoughts drifting to Yuna. He remembered their final moments on this very spot, and how he never imagined it would be him walking this path. Now that she is gone, he vowed to carry her dream forward, to see it through, no matter the cost. He had changed. The boy who once stood uncertain had grown taller and stronger, his body transformed from a wiry youth of 5 feet 9 inches into a towering 6 feet 5 inches warrior. Now 17, he bore the title of Disciple of Humanity's Strongest Knight. With resolve burning brighter than ever, Lowe set out on his journey to the legendary, treacherous island of the gods.